Hi guys, welcome back to the Kingdom Family 22. It's your girl B, and I hope that everybody is having a great week and weekend. Today I'm just going to be speaking on switching from negativity to positivity. So oftentimes we catch ourselves in this loop where we are just negatively thinking and we are stuck in that loop, and we don't even really catch ourselves when we're doing it because we're just so stuck into it. So we have to like drag ourselves out of that negative loop and redirect our focus and our intention to the very present. So for instance, like if you are maybe cooking, right? You're in the kitchen, you're cooking, and then next thing you know, like you're not focusing on what you're doing. Like you know what you're doing, but you're not really like centered. Like your mind's not really centered on what you're doing, and you're thinking about the upstairs neighbor that just genuinely pisses you off, and you start thinking about conversations that hasn't happened yet and that probably are not going to happen yet, but you're just thinking it in your mind of like ways on how to like go off on them, or saying things that like will upset them and cause a conflict. Like you're like so caught up in your mind that you're basically dissociating and you're not really in the moment. And so I struggle with that 24/7. Okay, I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, nobody's perfect in this world. I struggle with that, and so I do have dissociation, and I have been dealing with this for a very long time. I am now taking action to overcome that. And so what I'm trying to say is that we may not realize that we're like getting lost in the thoughts, and sometimes it's really hard to get ourselves out of that because we're just so deep into it. We didn't even realize when that started, you know what I'm saying? Because it can come about at any given time. And so this happens to me throughout the day, and what I try to do is, if I find myself not in the present, not focusing or being mindful in the present, I apologize for the noise in the background. I try to catch myself and realize, why am I thinking that, and what is there a specific trigger that's causing that thought or thoughts. And so what I try to do is redirect my focus into what I'm doing, practice ground techniques. It could be mindful breathing, it could be the 5 method, it could be whatever really honestly helps you, as long as you just do like a ground technique that helps you bring your focus back into the very present and not be so in here. So first things first is you have to catch yourself when you are in that loop of thinking. So catch yourself when you are in that state of mind. Identify any triggers, anything that you may think of that is causing these thoughts, and then redirect your focus back to what you're doing. I'm going to be addressing how to let go of overthinking and tips to manage rumination, and sharing some exercises for busy brains. So we're just going to be speaking about the mind in general. Now, I'm not a professional therapist, psychologist. I am just mentioning all this information from what I obtained through the internet and what has helped me. Now, I'm still in the process because I am struggling with this. It's my struggle, and I am taking action to combat this. So I'm just gonna be sharing some notes that I wrote down. And so we're gonna go ahead and start with overthinking and how to let go of overthinking. Now, I am the biggest overthinker. Like, I just think and I 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 think, and it just does not stop. Like, it could be any time, any day, wherever I am, I could be focused on what I'm doing. Next thing you know, I'm not really in the present. I'm not being mindful of what's going on because I'm so caught up on here that I don't even like notice that I'm switching to that transition, and then I get so deep into it that I'm just lost, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to get myself out of it, but I just continue to find myself thinking and overthinking and overthinking and overthinking. So I know I'm not the only one. Does it suck? Yes, it definitely sucks because it destroys peace. It destroys being in the present, living in the moment, and we don't need to be thinking so much because half the time that things that come up through our brains, it's not even true and it's not even gonna happen. So it's just there sometimes to distract you. So remember, you do have the power to control what you want to let pass and let out of your mind, whatever. I don't know if I said that right. Okay, so first things first is become aware. Notice when you are overthinking. Observe when it's happening. Identify any thought patterns. Why did I say it like that? Identify any thought patterns. Recognize if there's any triggers or themes that are causing these thoughts, or thought patterns, whatever it is that you may be dealing with at the moment. And then acknowledge your thoughts without judgment. Now, don't simply ignore them, but don't also be hard on yourself because you're in that state of overthinking, and sometimes it can be drainful and it can be overwhelming, exhausting, and sometimes we're hard on ourselves because it's like, oh my gosh, like, please shut up right here. But you know, it's okay. Like, our body is doing a lot for us, and we're like a vessel, so we're trying our best to keep up with it and, you know, nourish it and take care of it. So we just have to, you know, be graceful, be, you know, what's the word, easy on yourself. Be easy on yourself, just because, like, there's gonna be many times where you're gonna be thinking yucky stuff, and we just gotta learn how to let it come and know how to, like, deal with it, you know what I'm saying, but in a positive way. And so moving on forward, okay, so I mentioned become aware, right? Observe when it's happening, recognize any themes or triggers, and then don't ignore these thoughts. As in, like, okay, I know that this is happening right now in my mind. What can I do to fix it? Type stuff. Does that make sense? Next thing is challenge your thoughts. So identify negative or exaggerated thoughts. Are these thoughts facts or are they assumptions? Seek evidence to the contrary. Find evidence against these thoughts. And then reframe those negative thoughts, as in replace them with positive thoughts. So, as I was mentioning, you know, when you've already observed that you're having these thoughts and you've recognized, okay, there's triggers that are causing these specific thoughts, and I've acknowledged that it's happening, you know, I'm dealing with it right now. It's like, it's active. What you're gonna go ahead and do is, you know, you're gonna ask yourself, okay, so are these thoughts that are coming through my mind facts or assumptions? Are they 100% true, or are they just 100% lie, you know? And so once you've, you know, ask yourself that, you try to find evidence against these thoughts. Like, okay, like, what evidence do I have to come against these thoughts or to support these thoughts? Now, if you don't find any sort of evidence for these thoughts, then that means it's a plain lie, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no truth in these thoughts. And so you want to go ahead and replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Now, that's challenging your thoughts. You know, okay, I'm feeling like I'm going to get in trouble because I didn't do this specific task at my job right, but then you go ahead and replace it with, like, well, you know what, I'm bound to make a mistake, so I'm not going to worry so much. Like, does that make sense? Like, I can't think of a good example right now. You know, my mind is just kind of like, I'm trying to focus on, like, explaining myself, you know, so I can make sure that this makes sense. But what I'm trying to say is just replace the thought with the positive thought. Okay, moving on forward, redirect your focus so you can practice mindfulness, try to focus on the moment, you know. Meditate, train your mind to be present, engage in enjoyable activities, and that could be whatever it is that you like doing. Focus on problem solving, find solutions, and then take action, take small steps, because once you start taking these small steps, it can definitely break the cycle. And as I mentioned, I don't remember if I did mention this earlier in this video, but I have struggled with this for a very long time. I never took action. I didn't know. I didn't care for it. I think that's what I'm looking for. I didn't care for it. I didn't know what I was doing. I apologize for the background noise. I just didn't knew what really to do when it came down to certain mental health stuff, when you're dealing with anxiety, depression, so now I'm taking the action to okay, we need to fix this, we need to get up there and level up, so we can break those cycles. So moving on forward, cultivate self-compassion. As I mentioned earlier, be patient, kind, and understanding to yourself. Practice self-acceptance. Recognize we all make mistakes, and build a support system. Talk to somebody that you trust. So, dude, it's hard. I tell you, I overthink 24/7. But if you observe when it's happening, you recognize something that's triggering it, you acknowledge that you need to do something, take action. Okay, challenge your thoughts. Are these true thoughts, or are these, are these, dang, I can't even speak. Are these thoughts lies? Redirect your focus. Be self-compassionate. It's gonna be okay. I promise you, I'm so sorry. It will be okay. Just, be patient with yourself, be understanding, and hey, we all go through overthinking. It's bound to happen. Our brains are working 24/7, So yeah, that's gonna be it for letting go of overthinking. I know I mentioned rumination earlier and I also struggle with that too, and the reason why I'm sharing these two is because I'm struggling with it. But if I found these tips, and I believe that I can break the cycle and I can heal from this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and share what I found on the internet. I quoted it: how to stop ruminating. What is rumination? Rumination is feeling stuck in a cycle of negative thinking and feeling unable to break free. It is a symptom of various mental health disorders, including OCD, generalized anxiety disorder. Oh, sorry, I said that wrong. Generalized anxiety disorder and PTSD. Rumination can cause a person to feel extreme distress, develop depression or anxiety, and worsen existing mental health disorders. At its core, rumination is a coping mechanism that the mind uses to help feel more in control of something that is or was out of control. At first, may feel like it is helping you, but over time, rumination begins to feel more like a burden. So I'm just gonna write down the list of examples of rumination. Worrying about future goals to the point it causes distress. Obsessing over the details of upcoming events. Spending hours asking what if questions about different life scenarios. Mentally replaying the worst case scenarios of future events. Anxiously mentally reviewing conversations after socializing. I'm sorry. So I have found myself where I am ruminating, and I am just in this cycle where I can't break free, and it sucks. It feels very distressing. It feels very unpeaceful and uncomfortable, and I'm telling you, it's about a whole lot. It can be about the littlest things. Okay, let's move on forward. So as I was saying, recognize when you are doing it. 3 to 5 recognize when you are doing it. 3 to 5 minutes mindfulness break. If you notice you are ruminating during these check-ins, take a few deep breaths and practice a coping skill. Look for thought patterns such as always or never. Notice tension in your body. Ruminating affects physical presence. Notice when you feel disconnected, Look for themes in your thoughts. Second, ground yourself in the present moment. Use ground techniques. 5 4 3 2 1 method encourages the use of your 5 senses to explore the present moment. And third, challenge the thoughts. Cognitive restricting cognitive restricting, I'm probably saying that wrong, is a CVT technique that involves recognizing negative and unhelpful thoughts, examining the evidence for and against these thoughts, and developing more helpful alternative thoughts. So basically what I mentioned when I was speaking about like overthinking, it's basically the same. Just do like a mindfulness break, breathing, use grounding techniques, challenge the thoughts, replacing the negative with the positive. But yeah, that's basically about it. Recognize, ground yourself in the present moment, challenge the thoughts. Same thing as I mentioned with the other topic as I was speaking of earlier. It's not easy, it's challenging, but I definitely feel like you can combat it, and it's not an overnight thing. It is a process for sure. I myself am still trying to incorporate these ground techniques. I'm trying to redirect my focus, challenge my thoughts, ground myself in the present moment, catch myself when I am in that negative thinking loop, because it can destroy our peace, and it can destroy us from living in that moment, and we don't want that. We only have life. We only live life once. This life is only given to us one time. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make the best out of it, and I want to be in the present all the dang time, because why not? Life is good. Well, that is it for today's video. I hope that this encourages you and that it helps you out to combat that negative thinking. I hope that you or y'all, whoever watches this video, has a great week, and that you enjoy the start of a new day. Just every day is a new day. Every day is a new challenge and new beginnings, and it's a fresh start. So you got this, and don't be hard on yourself.